Hi everyone, it's Becky here. So today is my second day in New York City. So I started the day with a little sketch of the sunrise sky outside my hotel room window. And then after a quick breakfast at the hotel, I'm going out to take the subway to Brooklyn from Main Street, Flushing, which is quite far away. So these houses and apartment buildings are so similar to the ones in Montreal in eastern Canada. So here I am at Queensboro Plaza transferring to another line to Brooklyn. Okay, and getting off at 49th Street over here. Here I am. Whoa, this is a real human world out here. So lots of people, lots of traffic, and tons of visual stimulations here. And here I am on the tour bus, getting ready to look at all the iconic places of downtown New York City. So I think this is the Empire State Building and many more ahead. This is the Flatiron. I think it's under renovation. So the weather was perfect with warm sunshine illuminating all of these buildings, allowing a perfect view of everything. So after the tour bus, I'm selecting a little souvenir from M&M, which is a really cute and hilarious little figurine. And after that, I am going to see Brooklyn Bridge and also Manhattan Bridge. So the best place to see the Brooklyn and the Manhattan Bridge is in the DUMBO area, which is right around York Street subway station. Here I am under one of the arches of the Manhattan Bridge. So the DUMBO area is a really lovely place to visit, but I have a big question is that this area is often very noisy with, huge rumbling sound of the trains passing Manhattan Bridge. So I'm wondering how do the people living in this neighborhood are able to endure all the thundering sounds that's happening every 10 minutes. So now sitting down at the Pebble Beach, I have a beautiful panoramic view of the Brooklyn Bridge over here and the Manhattan Bridge on the right hand side. But this time I want to sketch the Brooklyn Bridge because the cityscapes behind is more interesting. So as you can see, I'm using a pencil to do a very quick conceptual layout about perspective. So bridges are actually pretty challenging but rewarding to sketch. There we are. So now I think that's enough for the pencil work. Now I'm ready to dive in with my Sailor brand Fude fountain pen. Now I'm starting to draw one of the towers of the Brooklyn Bridge, which is really close to me on this side of the bank. So roughly it is a rectangular prism shape. The left side is slanting down towards the left, and the right side is actually slanting down towards the right. And yeah, so that's a general structure. And then now I'm adding the inner details, which is made of bricks of limestone and granite mixed with cement. Okay, so this is at the waist area of the tower, midway vertically. Now I'm starting to draw the lower part of the tower over here, containing a lot of vertical lines parallel with one another. Now I'm drawing this metallic sculpture, kind of like number sixes or like whistles, right on the bottom of the tower here on the lawn area in the middle ground. And after the outlines of these number sixes, I'm just filling in the inner details very quickly and then going back to my main subject matter, which is the bridge. So now I'm drawing the deck area of the bridge, which is very much in the middle of the tower. And then these metallic structures made of steel. So a lot of crisscross lines and repeating lines in small patterns. And then finishing the left side of the bottom of the bridge tower there. Okay, and keep adding these minor details of this metallic sculpture and starting to draw the brick pattern using very loose, short horizontal lines. And then this part is quite important, the arches of the tower, two arches on the other side of the tower that I can't really see very well. They're extremely foreshortened, and then keep adding on the brick patterns, dividing the tower into medium sections. Yeah, so this is a pretty close-up view of how I do the brick pattern. So speed is a key. So the faster that we draw, the looser the lines you're going to look at, and there's less time for self-judgment. All right, so now it's time to take a break from the slightly tedious architectural drawing to adding some lively humans. So yeah, this is a profile view of a girl sitting on the concrete flower bed. So her upper body and then her legs sitting down, knee bending, and just using a dot to suggest the eye, and that's it. Now finishing up the bottom of the bridge tower, along with some bushes surrounding the metallic sculpture, as well as some lamps. Now drawing this other girl, and they are happily chatting together. I think they were smoking. Okay. Now, just finish drawing this concrete staircase that they're sitting on, and then keep adding another person there in a slight distance. He's smaller because he's more far away, and also suggesting a sense of perspective with the staircase that these people are standing or sitting on. Adding another guy taking picture with his phone, standing on top of the staircase. Now, drawing this street lamp, which adds a really nice balance to this urban sketch. So when I'm doing urban sketches, I love including lampposts and street signs just to add a nice sense of balance. Okay, and I just drew the bracket of the other bridge tower on the other side of the bank, and then connecting these two towers with the preliminary curving lines. Okay, so the lines of the suspension bridge is actually not straight. I'm also accentuating the perspective a little bit with a little bit of fisheye effect. So just bending the deck in between the two towers a little bit. And as you can see, I have a bit of overlapping lines here. It's okay. When you're doing urban sketches, really embrace those overlapping lines. And now dividing this tower into two vertical units and the arches for each unit. And this tower is in the distance, and that's why it's smaller. So the details is a little less compared to the one in the foreground. I just added that American flag, and then accentuate the arches along with adding the details of the brick pattern. So now I'm drawing another parallel line for the bottom of the deck. Okay, now ready to add the railing details for the Brooklyn Bridge in between the towers. So a lot of repeating short vertical lines. Again, the distance between each little section is getting narrower and narrower as they move into the distance towards the right. And just drawing that supporting tab over there, and perspective for the bottom over here. They're actually going inwards, foreshortened, and then shading in each section with solid brown ink. But the bottom of the deck is very deeply shaded. Okay, so that's very much it for the Brooklyn Bridge. Now I'm ready to add more foreground details and then work on the cityscape behind, adding a couple more people walking to the end of the walkway, actually to the bend of the walkway. Okay, so now I think I'm ready to add the main suspending cables over here, starting from the left side. They're going down. Over here, I see two, large, three over there. And then this one over here going down and then upwards, connecting with the top of the tower there. And then going down again. Okay, just making the line over here, the cable, thicker because it's a really dominant shape, giving identity to this suspension bridge. And keep adding more people. There's actually huge packs of people over here walking. Some are taking wedding photos. Okay, so I think we have a 1-point perspective here for the bottom of this urban sketch. And so the railing, the top and bottom is going into a vanishing point where those tiny peoples are. And these sections of the railings. Yeah, a very strong sense of perspective here on the bottom. And now just starting to add the bottom line of the land there on the other side where the skyscrapers are situated on. Now I'm drawing another man looking at the panorama of the city on the other side, just to add a sense of balance as well, because there are actually a lot of people on the left side. I need one more person here on the right side of this sketch, adding some more railing, division bars, and then coming back to the bridge again to add the main suspending cables on the other side. Yeah, so a lot of deep seeing to figure out all of these cables. Yeah, very beautiful curves, and also it's getting a little foreshortened there. It's not symmetry. And then dividing these into units for these vertical suspending wires. So just drawing very quickly to summarize the numerous numbers of these wires vertically. There are also some wires going in diagonal directions. All right, now just adding some last bit of brick details for the other tower on the other side of the bank. Okay, now I think I'm ready to draw these skyscrapers. A lot of them are pretty iconic ones, defining the identity of New York City. Yeah, some are kind of overlapping, actually going behind the bridge over here. So just drawing loosely. My hand pressure is more gentle because I don't want these buildings to look way too strong to come forward and compete with the Brooklyn Bridge. Yeah, they should be very much like more gentle silhouettes. Again, starting with the general structures. Most of these are rectangular prisms. The top are kind of like cones. Yeah, just keep them really simple, very much like the ways that I did for the buildings surrounding Central Park. Yeah, so after the general outlines of these buildings of various heights, and all of their three-dimensionality are rectangular prisms, so we can see one or two sides of that prism shape. Now, I'm loosely adding the inner details of glassy surfaces as well as windows, because they're in the very far distance. The windows, they look like little dots in vertical and horizontal rows. And keep adding some smaller, actually shorter buildings here in the front row. Yeah, again, simplifying the windows into rows of dots. And the key to adding these details is to work very rapidly and keep the details very loose, and a little blurry is fine too, because details in the distance, they don't need to come very sharply forward to compete with the foreground details. Yeah, I think that's very much it. Or just adding a few more buildings on the right. Yeah, a lot of simple patterns of dots, dashes, and then finishing the bank where these buildings are situated on. Last bit of details. Now moving on to the foreground railings. It's a lot of diagonal lines and the other way around. And then drawing the parallel lines of the wooden walkway panels, ripples for the river. And now I'm ready to put my fountain pen away and get ready to paint the watercolors. The sky right now is not in a perfect state, but you know, we get what we get. We don't get upset. Starting with these blue pockets in between the dark clouds. So I'm using my large tip Holbein Water Brush to get these streaks of blue loosely done, following what I see, and then wetting the cloud area with clear water, punching on a bit of lemon yellow mixed with yellow ochre for a bit of luminosity from the sun. So when painting a landscape or cityscape, I always like to paint the sky first, just to lay down the backdrop and push everything forward, including the cityscape in the middle ground, the Brooklyn Bridge in the foreground. They're kind of being pushed forward after the sky is being painted. First layer for the water is a mix of turquoise, a little bit of green, playing with blue and green for teal, turquoise, and blue colors, pretty diluted. That's the first layer for the water. And now punching on a bit of diluted yellow ochre for the first layer of the brick area, the towers of the Brooklyn Bridge. Okay, so after a few minutes, the cloud area of the sky is changed from wet to moist. So now I'm ready to do my wet onto moist technique, blending on the mix of cobalt blue and a little bit of royal purple. pretty high ratio of cobalt blue because these clouds are having a really cold shade of blue. Playing with different values, mixing more or less water. And then mixing a bit more royal purple for these clouds in the middle of the sky. Yeah, and just quickly shade these clouds with bluish or purplish gray, and then move on to the area closer to the horizon, a little bit more purplish, and adding some retouches of cerulean blue for these pockets of sky, because I really want the sky to look more inviting and vibrant and refreshing as well with the cerulean blue. Okay, so now I am gonna grab some light values of green, which is yellow ochre mixed with a little bit of hooker's green. Wet onto wet, a darker value of that same color, just to make the grass area look more dynamic. And then keep playing with hooker's green and cobalt blue, as well as cerulean blue to mix different kinds of blues, turquoise, and teal for these glassy skyscrapers in the distance, as well as yellow ochre because some of the buildings are having like a yellow-brown color. Yeah, so around the last part of this painting, I'm trying to add more contrast or denser values of the similar colors, including denser greens, a new layer on top, as well as stronger browns for some of these buildings, as well as stronger blue, purples, and violets for these modern skyscrapers. So a lot of these buildings are having a very subtle mix of yellow, illuminated by the sunshine, as well as a layer of turquoise or blue on top. I'm also leaving some parts untouched for the shine of those metallic surfaces of the skyscrapers. Yet, hard contrast is very important, so just keep adding the darkest dark values. Yeah, same for the towers of the Brooklyn Bridge. I think they need more vibrant yellow oranges slightly. And then the cold blues for the shaded areas, for the folded areas of the towers. And then a stronger value for the water. The water extremely turbulent today because of the wind. Yeah, stronger blue turquoise for the water, leaving some light gaps in between for the shine, the peaks of the waves. Yeah, so one of the key stuff I want to mention is that when you're painting something yellow, they should always have a bit of blue or purplish shade partially because of the lighting condition. So everything under the sun, they are never of its original color only. They always have a shaded side or multiple shaded areas. So a yellow object, for example, the bridge towers, they're not pure yellow. So make sure we shade certain areas according to observation. And then final polish. Yeah, another layer of brown for the walkway wooden planks using thin streaks of brushstrokes, and a bit more choppy brushstrokes for some bricks that pops up a little stronger, a sense of relieved areas for the towers. Don't forget to shade the bottom of the bridge with a really intense sepia, which is cobalt blue mixed into burnt sienna. So here's the look of my finished sketch. Yeah, so this one is kind of a challenge. It took me 1 hour and 30 minutes to draw and paint this here on location. Oh, there's someone there in the distance taking a wedding photo. And stay tuned for my next video where I'll be visiting Liberty Island and also Ellis Island to see the wonderful monument, and then sketching the Museum of Immigration on Ellis Island. So bye everyone, have a nice day, and I will see you again very soon next time.